It is 1 p.m. on Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. This is the City Commission's regularly scheduled meeting. Madam Clerk, do you have a quorum?
Yes, Mayor.
It is Commissioner Landgraf's turn to lead in the Pledge of Allegiance and Invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, thank you for this day. We ask for your guidance and wisdom in all that we do. We ask that you continue to watch over everyone, especially our first responders. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Item 4 is the approval of the minutes of the last regular scheduled meeting, which, if no corrections offered, shall stand approved. Are there any corrections? I did notice a couple corrections, which I've informed the city clerk, so they are approved with corrections. Item 5 is public comment. This is an opportunity for public to offer comments to the City Commission for items that are not on the agenda. If you please come up, please state your name for the record. Seeing none, we'll move to item 6.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. Item 6A, this is a request of the governing body to consider and approve Garden City Public Schools allowing the mayor to proclaim January 26th through 29th as Health Awareness Week in Garden City.
I make a motion we approve the proclamation as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. I believe I'll read this on the 26th.
Very good. Item 7, under report of the city manager, we have staff reports. This is the last report for that performance measurement that was kind of the new exercise this year. Next month, you'll probably see quite a few changes in the metrics themselves and how we measure some of those. But hopefully the first year has brought kind of some additional insight into how we look at operations citywide. Items B, C, D, E, and F are customary monthly reports from different departments. Any questions on those? Hearing none, we'll go on to meetings of note. Those requiring RSVPs, will you please do that through the city clerk's office? And then I'd like to add one. I found out over the weekend that the Tet New Year celebration will be February 14th, 2026 at Garden City High School. I'll get the exact time before the next meetings of note on the next agenda, but it usually starts there around the noon hour. We will be headed to some Southwest Kansas night out in Topeka. If you could let me know now your intent of going, or if you need to contemplate it, let me know by the end of the evening, so we can get kind of the travel arrangements figured out. I think right now, a small enough group possibly interested in going up and back, and but if we have more than two of you in the vehicle, that we need to figure out a second staff person to drive. So right now it's contemplated that would be up and back. It'll be a very late night getting back, but I think that kind of seems to fit everyone's schedule of those who've expressed interest in going thus far. All right. We're ready for item 9, consideration of the appropriation ordinance. If approved, the appropriate motion would be to approve appropriation ordinance number 2603-2026A.
I move to approve appropriation ordinance number 2603-2026A.
I second. There's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 10A, the governing body is asked to consider and approve an ordinance regarding the rezoning from R1 single-family residential district to RC condominium townhouse district for the property generally located at blocks 1 to 4 of the Lost River Edition, Phase 1, also known as 1503 Stonebridge Lane, Garden City, Kansas. If any of the ordinances listed as alternatives before you today are approved, that ordinance would bear the number 3041-2026.
Please also note that Vice Mayor Oyler has stepped down for this item.
Oh, sorry.
Good afternoon, Dante Thompson, planner with Neighborhood Development. Garrisphere, on behalf of Lost River Development LLC, is requesting to rezone lots 1 through 4 of the Lost River Edition Phase 1 from R1 Single Family Residential to RC Condo Townhouse District. The current plat contains lots ranging in size from approximately 9,100 to 21,700 square feet, all of which are vacant. The lots were platted as Phase 1 of a large single-family residential development in 2021 and are established as a reinvestment housing incentive district. However, the current developer is working with Neighborhood Development Services to split 12 lots in half to construct townhomes or attached single-family homes. This change will require an amendment to the development agreement for the RHAD and the overall development. The current R1 single-family residential zoning district doesn't permit townhomes or lots smaller than 6,000 square feet. As a result, the property must be rezoned before the lots can be split, before the lot splits can be recorded, and any building permits be issued for townhomes. The Garden City Comprehensive Plan's future land use map designates this area as low-density residential. Since this designation includes single-family detached, townhomes, and duplexes, the proposed development and zoning district conform to the comprehensive plan. The proposed development will remain residential and match the mix of nearby single-family and multifamily residential units. As a result, there will be no impact on the surrounding neighbors if the proposed rezoning is approved. The governing body may make its recommendation and state its finding according to the criteria in section 27.040 of the Garden City zoning regulations. Included in your staff memo is a complete list of the criteria. The Planning Commission recommend denial of the proposed rezoning request at their December 18, 2025 meeting, to which the minutes are attached. There are 3 alternatives in front of you. The governing body may adopt the Planning Commission recommendation to deny the rezoning. The governing body may adopt the Planning Commission's recommendation to deny the rezoning request and approve the corresponding rezoning ordinance. 2, the governing body may override the Planning Commission's recommendation by a 2/3 majority vote and approve the corresponding rezoning ordinance. Or 3, the governing body may return the Planning Commission's recommendation with a statement specifying the basis for the governing body's failure to approve or disapprove and approve the corresponding ordinance. Staff recommended the Planning Commission approve the rezoning request, and the Planning Commission recommends the governing body deny the rezoning request. There is no fiscal impact. I think a representative from the development is here, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have.
Thank you, Dante. I think I see homeowners, neighborhoods here. We would like to offer some public comment for you. So if you would like to come up, please state your name for the record.
Barbara Larson. I live at 2930 Squire Place. This is my 3rd time up here fighting this. I recommend just the very first one. Since it's already been denied, let's keep it denied. Let's not build these smashed up high-rise condominiums. I asked if I could see one so I had a better understanding, and I was told there aren't any in Garden City, so I can't see it to understand it better. And because of that, being told it won't have any impact on my taxes whatsoever, it will have an impact. My taxes aren't going to go down. They went up $2,000 this year. They've only gone up since we've lived here for over 30 years. They've never gone down. Please. Deny this.
Good afternoon. My name is Darla Daniels. We have lived at 1609 Pioneer Road for 38 years. I'm sure you as city commissioners are aware of the attractive, serene neighborhood that we live in up there. Part of that is because of the high quality of housing that was built, and a lot of it's because we, all the neighbors, work very hard to keep our properties up so they appraise well. Some of our concerns, and I will say I was concerned to hear Dante's remark about there will be no impact. Well, I disagree. But some of our concerns are how will these proposed townhomes and condos be built? Because I too have asked to see some plans that might relieve some of the anxiety we have about our neighborhood. Will high quality materials be used? How close together will these buildings be? We all were here 5 years ago when we approved the recommendation from Ag to R1. And we know developers have changed in those 5 years, but the plan then were, we have beautiful homes. These homes, proposed homes, were going to be even more so, which would be a good addition to the neighborhood. But my concern is if they take those 10 or 12, I've heard those numbers, 10 or 12 lots right behind our house actually, and divide them in two to make 20 to 22, I've heard both numbers. How scrunched up will that be? Will there be any green space in front, in back, in between the buildings? Will brick be involved? All of the houses up there are total brick. And will there be any brick on these proposed townhomes or condos? So, and I too, and I think this came up at the Planning Commission, is there any neighborhood in town that would be similar to this, so we could all just see what's proposed and be aware? So those are some of my concerns. Thank you. I know it's a tough decision. We do need housing, but we want it to be nice, continue to be a nice neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else for that section? Before Dante, would the representative of the developer like to say anything? Is that what you said he was here?
Yeah, taking a little look around, it doesn't look like they're present.
Okay. Are there questions for Dante or staff?
So, staff, go ahead.
So this whole piece right here in blue or green, part of it or all of it is we're asking to be rezoned.
So it will be the entire portion that's highlighted in blue to be rezoned from R1 to RC. However, the developer has only submitted plans and indicated intentions to staff that just the center 12 lots of that whole block will be constructed with townhomes. That, as they're the only ones that are being split. That does still mean that in the future, townhomes can be built on the other ones, but the intentions right now are only the center 12. 6 on the north and 6 on the south half of that block.
So that's once they're split, or right now the size of what they are? They'll build 12 once they're split?
Correct. So if this rezone is approved, then we can approve the lot splits that are currently in review in our office, and then we can issue the building permit for them to build those duplexes across those 6 lots. Across those 12 lots, with one half the duplex on one of those half lots.
And it's okay if you don't know, Dante. So within those plans, does the developer indicate just the intent that this is the type of building, or the intent of specific plans of floor plans, et cetera?
Staff hasn't received any floor plans or any buildings. And then I also want to mention on that if this is approved, we'll have to amend the development agreement because that specifies the number of housing units. So with that would also solidify until the next amendment how many duplexes they could put in.
Yeah.
The change of R1 to RC, how does that affect the reinvestment housing incentive district? Is there a connection?
So it'll require an amendment. In that development agreement, there's a specific spot that lists the number of units. So that'll need to be amended. I would also assume that property taxes would increase. So it could change the timeline that they get reimbursed because there's additional units on it. But I don't think we've seen an amendment or run that process yet. So I don't know for certain. And if any of the staff that are more professionals at RHAD have any more to add to that, feel free. But I think that's the greatest change we'll see.
I think the reality of this is from the standpoint that is very reasonable to say that this is a beautiful neighborhood that residents value and they're very protective of, and of course anything that happens, especially in their backyard, lends itself to a lot of considerations for them because obviously they'll see it all the time, and also that affects the financial piece of that. It will affect their property tax, but I also recognize that regardless of the prior plans, the prior promises, it seems to me that the prior promises that we hear from the Planning Commission minutes would be a lot on higher end homes, and I think that would also affect neighboring homes in closer proximity much more than these townhomes. And so for me, it's hard for me to it's easier for me to see something built there than nothing built there at all. And I recognize that it's a very emotional piece for everybody involved that lives near there.
Now, this request is being made going back to R1 to RC. Based on what? The builder is not wanting to do the homes anymore and wanting.
Correct.
And that is because of materials? Is it because of they feel that it's going to be easier?
Yeah, in conversations that we've had with them, they are finding to have a hard time to sell these larger single-family lots, and they believe that the market may be more towards these smaller, duplexes that a person owns. It's easier for them to maintain, the homeowner to maintain over time. Generally, the cost is a little bit cheaper, so they're finding the market fits more towards this style of home and lot for someone to purchase, rather than a large single-family lot.
And also allow them for the lots surrounding, to build those single-type homes, even within RC.
Correct, yep. The RC zoning district would still allow for single-family homes to be built on the outskirt lots, but with the lot split on the inner ones, that would only permit the townhome. So it'll be, the intentions is for a mixed neighborhood, much like it is surrounding this property. And without any adopted design standards by the city, there's no way to really know how those, the houses could all look the same, regardless of if they're a duplex, a townhome, or a single-family home, just because we don't have those design standards that the city can enforce. We leave those to private entities like the homeowners association to enforce those. But at this level, the homes could all look the same, or they could all look different from our perspective as the city.
That makes sense.
If this was denied, could the developer come back with the kind of the information the community is wanting and then come back to the planning commission and try to get an application again? Would that be, okay?
Yeah, to my understanding, we could bring it back with additional information.
Commissioners, Mayor, Director. Bryce, just to help elaborate a little bit on
Yes.
this. They could bring something back, but again, to Dante's thing, there's nothing to hold them to any criteria, just
Gotcha.
as any person pulling permit for anything. So I just want to make that clear, this is for the rezone.
Mm-hmm.
The design part of it, if it was tabled or something happened, what's presented still might not be what is built because of there's nothing to control it.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Well, and it would still have to come back, I mean, it'd have to go back through the planning commission and then back to us for, I mean, it'd still have to go through that whole process again. It'd eventually come back to us for approval is the thing. So I think what Commissioner Landgraf was getting at is maybe if they could work with the developer to see what they could do to enhance, change, modify, give more instruction on what their plans were. I think that's the concern from the community there is what I heard from the people that came and presented to us today. Didn't mean to put words in your mouth,
No, you're-
Commissioner, sorry.
Yeah.
Any further questions for staff? I only have a comment to make. I think that this is a little predicament in the sense of political philosophy, because the question also rises, it begs the question of how much control should the local government, the city, have over developers in exactly what should be built and exactly the influences that arises to nearby property owners. And I think that it brings a lot of problems to the surface of, does local government, is there an overstep of local government when it comes to particularly saying you can or cannot build X, Y, and Z there when the intent is neutral of their homes to be built? And so I just want to offer that to this commission. So with that, I would like to entertain a motion for this item. I think that our need, sorry,
Go ahead.
I think that our need for housing also evolves and allows us to recognize that these short pains, these uncomfortable moments, these uncomfortable values that we have could help us for a greater good of having more homes when that affects us in different ways. But I think in the long run, there is a lot of good benefit for us. And so I would like to make the motion to approve Ordinance 3041-2026 with alternative 2, an ordinance of the governing body of the city of Garden City, Kansas, overriding the recommendation of the Planning Commission and rezoning certain land within the corporate limits of the city from R1 single family residential district to RC condominium. Is there a second for this item? Hearing none, that motion dies. I would entertain another motion for this item.
I'll make the motion, we return the planning commission's recommendation with the consideration of, do we have to name like the different, the physical character of the neighborhood surrounding the property under consideration? Probably the sustainability under existing conditions of the subject property of the land use to which it has been zoned, the extent to which removal or alteration of the existing zoning clarification will affect nearby properties outlined in B above. To approve or disapprove and approve the corresponding zoning ordinance. So alternate 3 with those three different,
Is that A?
A, B, A, C, D, but it goes back to B too, because D references back to B. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you be willing to amend A, B, C, D?
A, B, C, D.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was reading that,
I
and then
gotcha.
it referenced back to B, so you have to add B to it then. Okay.
There's been a motion to approve ordinance number 3041-2026, returning it to the planning commission with a consideration of items A, B, C, D within the evaluation criteria 27.040.
I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second for this item. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Thank you.
We'll have Vice Mayor Oyler return back to the bench.
Mayor, just to be clear, that was 4-0.
3041. 4-0 vote, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we're ready for item 10B. The governing body is asked to consider and approve a resolution designating banking institutions to be used as depositories for the city's public funds. If approved, this would be resolution number 3214-2026.
Good afternoon. As an annual practice, the City of Garden City adopts this resolution at the beginning of each year. It is considered to be best practice in accounting and public financial reporting to list the institutions that are depositories for the city's public funds. The following list of institutions were approved in 2025. Staff recommendation is that they remain the same for 2026, and all the approved depositories are listed. I'll note that the city doesn't necessarily have funds at all of these institutions, but they would be the approved institutions if we were to choose to do so. The alternatives before you today are that the governing body may approve the resolution as presented, or that the governing body may take no action today and provide recommendations for changing the list of institutions used to deposit public funds and direct staff to submit a resolution for consideration in a future meeting. And staff recommends the governing body approve the resolution as presented, and there is no fiscal error.
Is there a motion for this item?
I make a motion, we approve resolution 3214-2026.
I second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 10C, the governing body is asked to consider and approve annexing city property generally located near the southwest corner of the intersection of US Highway 50 and North Farmland Road. If approved, this would be ordinance number 3042-2026. Mike.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. Some background on this property. Back in on May 20th, 2025, the governing body authorized the purchase of 8.33 acres of property located at 145 South Farmland Road. This property is contiguous to the City of Garden City's corporate limits and adjacent to additional property owned by the city, which is located at 4570 East Highway 50. The combined city-owned property being considered to be annexed today into the city's corporate limits would be utilized as part of an existing electrical substation expansion. And there's a map in the work there that you can see the map of the general area that shows that. Your alternatives today would be that the governing body may approve the ordinance annexing city property generally located near the southwest corner of the intersection of US Highway 50 and North Farmland Road. Or alternative two, the governing body may choose to not authorize that ordinance to be passed. Staff recommends that the governing body approve the ordinance annexing city property. And if it's approved, there's no fiscal impact to annexing the property. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Mike? I'll take a motion for ordinance number 3042-2026.
I move to approve ordinance number 3042-2026.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 10D, the governing body is asked to consider and approve a resolution for the approved waiver of Section 24.060 of the Garden City zoning regulations for Lifelong Fitness LLC at 102 North 11th Street. If approved, this would be resolution number 3215-2026.
Good afternoon. At the December 16, 2025 City Commission meeting, the governing body received a waiver request from Dan Penkhauser and Jerry Valdez on behalf of the property owner, Lifelong Fitness LLC. The applicant requested a waiver related to the parking requirements and sidewalk requirements for the property generally located at 102 North 2nd Street. The City Commission directed staff to prepare an ordinance waiving the parking requirements of Section 24.060 of the zoning regulations. That resolution is before the governing body for final consideration. The request to waive the sidewalk requirements of Section 18-10D of the Code of Ordinances was denied by the City Commission and therefore not included in the resolution being presented. The full agenda packet materials from the December 16th, 2025 has been included for reference. There are two alternatives in front of you. The governing body may approve the resolution as presented, or two, the governing body may not approve the resolution as presented and provide staff with alternative direction. And staff has no recommendation.
Any questions for Dante? I will entertain a motion for this item.
I make a motion we approve resolution 3215-2026.
It's been motioned. Is there a second?
I second.
It's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
So just to clarify, we're keeping the denial for the sidewalk, and we're only doing the parking requirements.
Correct. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Item 12A, the governing body is asked to consider and approve task order number 2 in the amount of $105,517.16 between HNTB and the City of Garden City for the design plans, bidding administration, contracting, and construction oversight of the Garden City Regional Airport parking lot. Rochelle.
Good afternoon. So this project has been in the works for over a year, and through that time period, it has evolved quite a bit. So I originally reached out to Wilson and Company because this project is all city funds to do a task order for the construction, the bidding, the construction, the design of the parking lot project. Throughout the time that's evolved in this project, we started working on a project with HNTB for a taxiway project, which is federal funds. In that time period, light bulb went off, said, hey, can we combine these to maybe get more competitive bids because they're both a lot of paving. And so then we reached out to HNTB asking them for a task order to be able to provide, and the FAA has confirmed that if upon your approval, HNTB was awarded the task order, that we could combine both the taxiway project as well as the parking lot project on one bid process under the federal grant. So that would hopefully be able to provide us more competition and bids and possibly lower prices. I've been in touch with Wilson and Company, and they completely agree that combining the projects and going out to bid for basically the one project together would be probably the best interest of the city. So as you guys know, Wilson and Company has been great for the city. Typically, the airport always uses HNTB for all of our federal projects. So that's why there's information for both task orders to be considered, but staff's recommendation would to be approved the task order between the City of Garden City and HNTB for the design, construction, and bidding of the airport terminal parking lot project.
Any questions for Rochelle?
I make a motion, we approve the task order number 2 in the amount of $105,517.16 between HNTB and the City of Garden City for the design plans, bidding administration, contracting, and construction oversight of the Garden City Regional Airport's parking lot.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you.
Item 12B, the governing body is asked to consider and approve a lease agreement with Radiant Power Solutions LLC to lease approximately 1 acre of city property located adjacent to the Lewis substation located at 2840 North VFW Road. Mike?
Yes, Mayor and Commissioners. Radiant Power Solutions LLC, Radiant, is requesting to lease approximately 1 acre of city property adjacent to the Lewis substation, which is located at 2840 North VFW Road. Radiant is planning to install up to 7.5 megawatts of data processing / data mining equipment on the 1 acre. The term of the lease is 5 years and will automatically renew for an additional 5 years unless terminated by either party after providing 12-month notice within the first 5 years of the agreement. After the first 5 years of the agreement, either party may terminate at any time with 1 year's notice. Radiant will pay the city $444.41 per month, or $5,333 per year for the first year, and then it will increase by 5% per year for a total of $29,467.75 over the 5-year term. Radiant shall be responsible for the maintenance and repairs and any improvement to the leased property and agrees to operate in a safe, environmentally responsible manner. Radiant agrees to keep the property in a clean condition, to keep all grass, weeds, and vegetation cut and trimmed in compliance with the city's code of ordinances. Radiant shall pay all utility charges in connections with the use of this leased property. And this is very, very similar to the one we already have, an existing one at the Jameson Energy Center lease. So your alternatives today, the governing body may approve the 5-year lease agreement at the Lewis substation with Radiant Power Solutions LLC. The governing body may choose not to approve this lease agreement. Staff recommends the governing body approve the 5-year lease agreement with Radiant Power Solutions LLC. And as stated in the body of the memo, the Radiant will pay the city $444.41 per month, or $5,333 per year. For the first year, that increased by 5% per year for a total of $29,467.75 over the 5-year term. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have on that.
Any questions for Mike? Mike, could you talk a little bit about how this relationship has been going with the site near Jameson?
Yes, it's going just fine. The initial agreement, they started out at 2 megawatts and they went to 5 megawatts, and just last week they've increased to the maximum that the city commission allowed, and that was 10 megawatts of capacity. So far, everything has worked just fine. There has been, I think, 2 times they chose on their own to shut their power down. That's part of the agreement, so if they would not be setting an additional peak. So the short answer, Mayor, is so far it's gone very well.
Great. I'll entertain a motion for this item.
I move to approve the lease agreement with Radiant Power Solutions LLC.
I'll second that.
There's been a motion to approve the 5-year lease agreement at the Lewis substation with Radiant LLC, and there's a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 12C, the governing body is asked to consider and approve a special retail contract for electric power with Radiant Power Solutions LLC. Mike?
Yes. You just approved the lease agreement for the property. This is the actual contract that would be in place with the city. And I need to read this as for documentation that would cover some of these for compliance orders. So the governing body entered into a special services contract with Radiant Power Solutions on February 4th, 2025 for supplying electric loads needing a 10 megawatt data processing facility. This facility is located on city property adjacent to the Jameson Energy Center and came online in June of 2025 and began receiving power from the city. Today, you are presented with another special retail service contract with Radiant Power Solutions for supplying the electrical needs for a 7.5 megawatt data processing facility at a different site. This new location is situated on city property located at 2840 North VFW Road, commonly referred to as the Lewis Electrical Substation. This second special retail service contract is nearly identical to the existing special retail contract with Radiant, the first one, except for the size of the load and the location and the delivery point. This matter considered before you today falls under City Code Section 90-275, Special Contracts. This allows separate contracts to supply electric power to citizens and others within the city boundaries. City staff, along with outside counsel, staff from the Kansas Municipal Energy Agency, have been meeting with Radiant over the past 90 days, ensuring that the city and KMEA can meet the requirements needed by Radiant to be in compliance with all of the Southwest Power Pool and the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission's requirements. The city and KMEA have specifically chosen not to opt in to allow wholesale market participation pursuant to the regulatory rules and requirements regarding participation as distributed energy resource aggregations and demand response participation in any form of SPP's integrated marketplace, including but not limited to FERC Orders 719, 745, and 2222. Radiant is being compensated by being provided service at an interruptible rate under the terms of this agreement. Radiant will not be permitted to register or participate in SPP's integrated marketplace. This agreement has an initial term of 60 months with automatic 36-month renewal unless terminated by either party within 12 months of written notice. 3 months before the end of the initial 60-month period, the city will provide Radiant notice of changes in the rates as specified in this agreement, and those adjustments will take effect 3 months after the notice is provided to Radiant, and shall be in effect until notice is provided by the city and KMEA to Radiant of the new adjustments. Adjustments cannot be made more than once every 12 months. The city and KMEA will have the right to interrupt service to Radiant by providing 60 minutes advance notice prior to the interruption, except in the case of an emergency energy alert issued by the Southwest Power Pool or the transmission system operator, which is the Sunflower Electric Power Corporation, or a Garden City system emergency requiring no advance notice. Rates for the initial 60-month period include a customer charge of $200 a month, a demand charge of $5.56 per kW month, and the actual cost of SPP's network integrated transmission service based upon Radiant's contribution to the city's peak demand at the time of the Sunflower Electric Power Corporation's monthly transmission peak. Radiant will pay the city $150,890 for its share of the required upgrade to the city facilities in order to be able to serve this new 7.5 megawatt load at the Lewis substation. Radiant will provide a $50,000 deposit within 10 days of the execution of the agreement and an additional $20,000 deposit 10 days prior to the initiation of the first 2 megawatts of service. In addition, $20,000 deposit will be required for every 500 kW increment before the additional load will be implemented. If Radiant fails to provide the required service of the deposit is not, if Radiant fails to provide the required service, or if the deposit is not provided within 5 business days of the required date, the city reserves the right to terminate this agreement. Interest on the deposit will accrue as indicated under sections 90-85 of the City Code of Ordinances. Alternatives, the governing body may authorize the mayor to sign the special retail electric services contract with Radiant Power Solutions LLC. Or number 2, the governing body may choose not to authorize that. Staff recommends you authorize the mayor to sign the special electric retail services contract with Radiant Power Solutions. And all expenses and revenues associated with this contract will come from the electrical department budget, which is considered an enterprise account and will have no impact to the general fund. Revenues are estimated to be in the $225,000 range over expenses per year, and this will depend upon the amount of energy, of course, they consume. I do want to make one note. There was a change in the contract on the initial payments that they have to make. Radiant requested the change. Everyone has agreed to that. The only change, and I'll read that to you, sorry. We initially said that the customer needed to make the payment of all of it within 5 days of signing this contract. However, they agreed, they requested that they pay a third within 5 days of this to date, 5 days within the first day of the next month, and then the other 1/3 5 days after the second month. So a third over today and the next 2 months. So I want to make sure you are aware of that. And the contract that the mayor would sign if you approve this reflects that change. And I'm happy to answer any questions after all of that.
Thank you. Any questions for Mike? I'll entertain a motion for this item.
I move to authorize the mayor to sign the special retail electric services contract with Radiant Power Solutions, LLC.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 12D, the governing body is asked to consider and approve a purchase for one Pierce pumper from Conrad Fire Equipment for the principal amount of $1,026,341.77. Chief.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. Funding for a new engine was included and approved in the 2026 budget. Engine 616, a 2007 model, is identified for replacement in the department's apparatus replacement plan and was scheduled for replacement in 2022. The unit is well beyond its recommended service life. The apparatus will be purchased through Sourcewell contracts. Sourcewell is a nationwide competitively solicited procurement program that solicits proposals on a wide array of products. Due to the current manufacturing turnaround times of approximately 32 to 36 months for a new engine, staff is recommending the purchase of a stock Pierce engine with minor modifications that best meet the needs of the department and the community. Purchasing a stock engine from Pierce significantly reduces time, with this unit expected to arrive in June of 2026 compared to an estimated 2029 to 2030 delivery dates for a custom-built apparatus. Sourcewell provides an apparatus quote for a vehicle that meets the specification provided by the city. The quote provides two options for payment, with a total purchase price of $1,026,341.77 paid upon delivery and a price of $1,008,078.48 if prepaid at the time of order. The city budget was prepared with the expectations of utilizing capital lease purchase for this equipment with 10-year term. The estimated annual payment for the apparatus based on the 10-year term is $116,000 to $125,000. Depending on the final interest rate. Pierce has a limited number of spec trucks currently in production that meet the operational need of the department. Securing this unit now allows the department to reserve it before it becomes available to other agencies. Once reserved, staff will work with the manufacturer over the next several months to make sure any necessary modifications. If the purchase is approved today, Finance Director Coleman will reach out to the city's banking partner with an RFP for financing of the capital lease, the result of which will be presented at a future meeting. The result of the RFP will dictate the final annual payment for the apparatus. There is currently $110,000 in the 2026 budget for this purchase. If the annual payment exceeds the budgeted amount, staff will identify how the overage will be accounted for when the financing is finalized and presented to the City Commission. Staff will work with Conrad Fire Equipment and the financing agent to receive a prepaid discount. Based on the timing of the financing, this may require the city to pay the cost of the apparatus and then be reimbursed from the escrow account once the capital lease is finalized. The alternative for you is the governing body may authorize staff to purchase one Pierce pumper from Conrad Fire Equipment for the principal amount of $1,026,341.77. The governing body may deny the request and provide alternate guidance. The staff recommends the governing body authorize staff to purchase one Pierce pumper from Conrad Fire in the principal amount of $1,026,341.77. The fiscal note funding for the replacement apparatus is available in GL 10024-102-6514. No payment will be made until the truck is completed and accepted by staff. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. I do have one, Mayor. Chief, you mentioned Sourcewell is the place to do kind of price shopping, I guess, would be the alternative, but there is the turnaround time is the dilemma there. What is the price through Sourcewell for a similar engine?
Well, we go through Pierce and Conrad, everything comes through Sourcewell, and that's the price through Sourcewell as it meets the specifications.
So that is the stock engine price?
Yes.
Okay, so then my question, I guess, should be, if we were to go through the 32 through 36-month process and get a customized vehicle, do we have an estimated price of what that costs?
Depending on the prepaid discount, could be anywhere from $125,000 less if you wait the 32 to 36 months.
Okay, good, thank you. That's what I was trying to get at. So really the kind of the question before the governing body is, do you want to pay the delta to have the vehicle here 3 years earlier? Or do you want to go through the competitive process and have the potential, of course, depending on the customizations that get included, of saving something less than 10% probably?
Your recommendation is the price, is that you say total purchase price is the $1,026,346.77, but the prepaid price, will pay the prepaid price, but is the total price, is that with delivery and everything else? I mean, the prepaid price is just the truck itself, right?
So
I mean, with the $1,008,078.
Yeah, so that's a prepaid discount. If we are approved today to purchase, we'll notify them and say we're going to take it. We'll work with Jared to try to catch that 2-week window to get that prepaid discount.
Okay.
If we wait for the financing to be approved and we'll say, hey, we'll take it, but we're not going to pay until June, we'll pay the $1,026,000.
Mayor, I do have one more for clarity.
Jared's coming to kind of help answer that question.
So the timing on that, we presented the full price because
Right.
there's a possibility that prepaid discount doesn't happen, but the intent of the city would be to put out an RFP for financing, get that back, and if we have to pay the full price of the truck ourselves for now to capture the prepaid discount, we would do that.
Okay.
And then be reimbursed from the escrow once the financing goes through and everything's completed. So we would have that option, and I'd make sure that's in the RFP that the financing institutions know that may be the intent of the city.
Okay.
So we anticipate that, but we didn't want to present that as the price.
No, sure.
It changes, yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Matt, you had a question?
I do, Chief. 616, where's it domiciled, and is it a first apparatus out? And if it were to be replaced, does 616 stay in service as backup at one of the stations?
So it's kind of a whole lot of moving pieces. 616 will be decommissioned. Engine 1 will now go to reserve status, which is a 2008 or 2011. It'll go to reserve status for its remainder of its life, and this new engine will come in and replace engine 1 as a first out engine. But 616 will be decommissioned, sold, and we've got rid of it.
So it rolls out of Central Fire Station?
Yeah, okay. The main engine out of Central Fire.
Thank you.
Any further questions for Chief or staff?
I make a motion that we authorize staff to purchase the Pierce pumper from Conrad Fire Equipment for the original principal amount of $1,026,341.77.
There's been motion. Is there a second?
I second that.
There's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Item 12E, the City Commission is asked to consider and approve Airport Advisory Board member appointments. Rochelle.
Good afternoon. At the end of 2025, we had 3 board members that terms expired, which included Aaron Anderson, Blair Loving, and Tyler Dynas. Aaron Anderson is ineligible to serve another term as he has already served 2 consecutive terms. Tyler decided not to renew his term as he knew there was more applicants on file. And then Blair Loving has expressed interest to reserve on the board, and he is eligible as well. We had 6 applications on file, and all their information is attached in the accompanying information information. The Airport Advisory Board met in December and reviewed the applications and recommended the appointment of Blair Loving, Anna Halling, and Brad Kowalski for the Airport Advisory Board for the term serving 2026 through 2028. The City Commission may approve those appointments. They may not approve those appointments or provide additional recommendations of appointments to staff.
It's great to see that there's a number of people wanting to serve.
Yes, I agree.
I make a motion that we approve the Airport Advisory Board member appointments of Blair Loving and Halling and Brad Kowalski.
There's been a motion for alternative 1. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you.
Item 12F, the governing body is asked to consider and approve reappointing Carlos Murillo as the Public Social Service Representative and Hazel Elliott as the State Parole Representative on the Community Corrections Adult and Juvenile Services Advisory Board for a 2-year term each from February 2026 to January 2028. And Chief may be coming across the hall from the bullpen.
He's slowly making his way.
Slowly making his way.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm assuming that I'm presenting this. What you have before you is a request to consider and approve reappointing Carlos Murillo as the Public Social Service Representative and Hazel Elliott as the State Parole Representative on the Community Corrections Adult and Juvenile Services Advisory Board for a 2-year term each from February of 2026 to January of 2028. The background on this, per Kansas State statute, KSA 75-5297 and KSA 75-7044, the City of Garden City is responsible for appointing 3 members to the Finney County Community Corrections Adult and Juvenile Services Advisory Board. Alternatives before you. Number 1, the governing body may approve reappointing Carlos Murillo and Hazel Elliott for 2-year terms, or the governing body may deny reappointing Carlos and Hazel and provide direction. Recommendation, staff recommends the governing body approve the reappointments as presented. There's no fiscal note, and I'll stand for any questions.
Any questions for Chief? I'll entertain a motion for this item.
I move to reappoint Carlos Murillo and Hazel Elliott for 2-year terms each.
There's been a motion. Is there a second? I second. There's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Chief.
Chief.
We're in section 13, that's the consent agenda. If the commission doesn't wish to pull any of the items off, the appropriate motion would be to approve consent agenda items 13A through F. No, I'm sorry, 13A through 13H.
Is there anyone from the public to speak about any of these items? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
I move to approve consent agenda items 13A through 13H.
I second. There's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes.
That concludes the business items. We're ready for commission reports.
And first up, we have Commissioner Landgraf for commissioner reports.
I just want to start by saying it was great having the joint meeting with Finney County and Holcomb earlier today. It's great to have these joint meetings as it's through working together and sharing information that together we'll continue to see great growth and success in all of our communities. Also just want to say I think it's kind of neat the timing worked out perfectly that we're working on expanding the airport parking lot. At the same time, we got the report from the airport showing the record number of employments for the airport, shows how much the airport is growing, and I also look forward to seeing how much it continues to grow into the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Oyler.
I want to thank all the city crews who were out making sure that our roads were safe. Yesterday for the snow, it was quite an interesting, you went to work and it was blizzard and you came out in the afternoon and it was gone. And so thank you for doing that. But especially, I know out at the airport too, because I know a lot of times people forget that our airport staff are out there overnight to make sure that the runways are clear and all of the safety measures are taken for those flights. And so thank you to the airport crew as well for spending your time out there and making sure that they're safe. And I agree with the applications of having more names for our advisory boards than positions. I think that's a great problem to have. It allows those different advisory committees to meet and really go through them and pick the right candidate, not just picking who's, picking a name because they applied. And so I just encourage anybody to look at the different advisory groups that the city has. There are a number of them, and it's a great way to get to know your city government, but it's also a great way to give back to your community as well. And so I would just encourage people to look at those different advisory committees and think about volunteering for one.
Thank you. Commissioner Canales-Lozano.
I want to say thank you to all of the city crews for keeping us safe these last couple of weeks with the snow coming down. We appreciate their hard work and the long hours that they put into keeping us safe. I also want to say that I attended the legislative coffee this past weekend. I was impressed with the attendance and that we are a really great community, and I'm really glad to be here. And everything else. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Cessna.
Yeah, thank you. It was always a good joint meeting when we get the county, City of Holcomb, and us together and working on the future of not only Garden City, but the county and Holcomb as a whole. Everybody moving forward in the same direction. It's always nice to see. Again, kind of echoing what everybody else has said, but thanking everybody, the city staff, for all their hard work the last couple of winter snow events that we had, and just getting out and keeping everyone safe. Also want to thank the street department and electric department for fixing the traffic light that got run into the other day. And that's really a bad area anyway, being there at the high school, but thanks for staff working really diligently to get that up and running, especially just before school let out. So it was great to see that. Yes, employments, always nice to see. 33,000, almost 34,000 employments this year, 33,987. So like Commissioner Landgraf noted, nice to be working on additional parking space out there. I know I went out there the other day and there were cars, a lot of cars parked in the alternative parking on the gravel part of the parking area. So it's duly noted that we really do need the expansion of the parking out there. Again, just fly local and shop local. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, first a thank you to the neighbors out at Stonebridge Lane for sharing your thoughts today. We really appreciate it. And so much snow that has touched the ground and has quickly melted but has turned ice. And I'm so grateful for the city staff who are so proactive in that in all of our departments, not just for our airport or streets, but also even at the zoo, places that we not tend to think about that needs maintenance for snow. Last week, I shared a dinner with Kansas State University students for their alternative break, where they toured and kind of spent some time to discover the agriculture. And one quote that I heard that impacted me very well was one of the gals said, Garden City is weird because it makes me feel like I'm at home even when I'm all the way from California. And I think that resonates with the culture that we have here and the welcomeness that we offer. So also in the police department bulletin, if you did not notice, there is an online reporting software for us. So please be on the lookout for that and how that can be utilized. And also, this month, January, is National Poverty in America Awareness Month. So I would encourage all of us on a very, very busy schedule to spend some time to do some community service for those that are less fortunate than us, and maybe if it is in the interest of our commission to serve somewhere together also. But just want to put that out there for the rest of the year. And with that, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Good meeting.
Good meeting.